Motormouth Jenkins here, welcoming you to our brand new YouTube channel. Hope that you'll come back and see every segment each and every week, and I will share preventative maintenance tips and regularly scheduled maintenance tips for your car. So whether you know a little bit about your car or absolutely nothing, this is the channel just for you, where I share over 35 years of experience as a qualified and licensed service technician with truck and coach, light truck and passenger vehicles. Come back and visit us and tell your friends, and we'll see you each and every week right here in the Car Connection Workshop on YouTube.
Thanks, friends, for stopping by. I'm down here losing my marbles. But somebody told me once, you can't lose what you didn't have, Motormouth. I go, thanks a lot. It's good to have friends. The starter is little. It looks simple on this job, but I'll tell you, it is a little hairy because the starter has to seat properly, and I am not there. I don't know why. I'm just not in the hole right. And it's a little freaking ornery, I'll tell you that. Because it has to go in perfect. Otherwise, you can't get the mayonnaise on there. Oh, I gotta back off for a minute. My arm's getting pinched on the lower control arm. That's always happy. Cutting off the insulation. Yeah, it's cutting off the insulation. Is that where that goes? That might be just where it goes. That just might be it. I'm not sure. So let's get a bolt going here. I don't think it's in. I honestly don't think it's in. There's no way that's in. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. I'm not. What am I caught on? Yeah, you know, sometimes a starter can look really easy, and then it's not, if you know what I'm saying. If you've been there, put that in the comments. I'll tell you, I've had to change some starters, and I kind of wonder about them. The engineers, like, what do you have to do to invent that, you know? Has anybody else thought that way? It's like, what are you doing, you guys? Now I can't even get out. It's just not dropping in there. I just gotta let it hang there for a minute. My arms are getting tired. Yeah, now I know what a bird feels like. Okay, so there's the top one. That's... Did it just go in? I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the story. Let me tell you a story about a man named Jed. Poor mountaineer that kept his family fed. Something like that. It ain't going in there. Not today. Not tomorrow. I don't know. Is that going in there? I don't think it is, boys. I think it's all in the way you hold your tongue. You ever had that? Yeah. I don't know what's going on here. But we're going to try and get this thing in there. I'll tell you, it looks easy. It isn't easy. This is the tightest fitting starter motor I've ever seen. It just doesn't seem like it's right. It doesn't. No, it isn't. It isn't in there right, man. Give me the bolt. The bolt. You must give me the bolt. That's not going in. It is not happy, friends, right now. It's not happy down here. We're not happy dancing by any means, because I can't seem to get this thing going in. What is the freaking problem here, boys and girls? I did this dance already. It needs to go get past that. I'm not one to force anything, because if you have to force it, you know, then you're going to do some damage. There's no doubt about doesn't. I know when I had to pull it out, it was quite a challenge. You had to, it was a special little we did. Twist, twist. Remember that from the Flintstones? Anybody? Anybody know what that song's from? Twist, twist. It's from the Flintstones. I don't know. There seems to be some kind of cookie mystery here. Now, I got that bolt out without dropping the exhaust. I'm just saying. So what are you saying now? I got to get that bolt in beforehand? I don't know. I don't recollect that one. But are we down on the block? You got to make sure she's anchored. No, she's not down. This thing is not in. It's saying it is, but I know it's not. It's not in. We got to get way over yet. Way over. I said 12 minutes, didn't I? But I didn't say today. Said, oh, I'll have that starter in about 12 minutes. Liar. I don't know why this isn't going in. Honestly. Yeah, dude. What is the problem here? You ever get that feeling like you just want to scream? I want to tell everybody I got to freak out for a minute. Can you step out of the room while I just lose it? Yeah. Well, that's one of these moments. It just doesn't want to drop where it needs to drop. It wants to keep going back to that same spot. Anybody got a Sawzall? that won't help. You gotta twist it and get it over that pan. You gotta get over that turnbuckle there. Otherwise, you're not going in. Because it's gotta sit. You gotta make sure that it's sitting against the block. That's not going in. There's no way that's going in. It should just drop right over top of that pan, right onto the surface of the block. Because I'm sort of there, but not there, if you know what I'm trying to say. This is not, I need to come and have another look with the other starter. I need to just make sure we're 100% here exact on the nose cone. I need to have a look at the nose cone because it's not saying it wants to go in. It's telling me stories. So whether, yeah, it should drop right in there. Okay, let me have a look. Coming out for a minute. Got to double check and just make sure we do have a perfect nose cone match, because it wants to drop in, but it's not dropping in on the one side. So we need to have a secondary look another reason why I never throw out the one I took out till I double check it. Because if something's not quite right, because it doesn't want to sit, this side doesn't want to sit in where it's supposed to, but it looks like a match. Wouldn't you say? I would say. In fact, this looks a little bulkier than this one. Instead of this step here, they've cut it out. That's what they've done here. They've machined that out. Machined that out. I would say it looks like a match. It's just I guess I'm not holding my tongue in the right position. We're just going to have to wiggle it around until it goes in. I need this to drop in against the only thing I can see here that's a little different is this is rounded off. This is square. And that could be the challenge, because that has to go around the oil pan. And it's that side that won't drop in. They have etched it out here, but it's not, you see what I'm seeing? It's not quite rounded off there. This is okay. This side wants to go in, but it's getting hung up over here. You can see it. Well, we'll give it another try, and if it doesn't, then what I'm going to do is I will make a template of the top of this out of some craft paper, and I'll lay it on top of this, mark it out, and I'll shape that. But I've done stuff like that before. It's close but not quite, and it's pretty precision cut down there right where this curve is. That's the curve around the oil pan, so it drops in beside the oil pan, and this is square, and that could be my problem. They have done this little cut here. If you look, they've done that cut right there. The same cut is right here, but this is where the issue is. Okay, we're going to try it again. If not, then that's the only way I'm going to get this in, is I got to have that curve on that corner. Let's see. Cover me, I'm going in. Cover me, Skippy. We're going in deep. This time it's personal. Going down. First floor. Oh. That's the vinyl. That wasn't what you think. It was the vinyl. Yeah, see? I see exactly where that drops in there on that curve. It's not, I can see that right now. That's where it's getting hung up on. There's a curve on the pan that curve on the housing, if it's square, it's not going to go in. I can see it. I'll try it again, but I can see where the problem is. It's that corner. It's a corner, and it needs to not be a corner on the starter. That's not going to get me in there. It fits it's a precision cut right there to get around the pan. And I can see where it's not a square cutout there. It's not. It is not a square cutout. Oh, excuse me. when I go upside down, my sinuses tend to leak. Okay, so I'm past that pan right there. You won't believe this. Sparky. I just put it in, just like that. Are you kidding me? Now I can't get that bolt in. You know what? I think I need a vacation. You won't believe it. All I did was... Anyways, don't say anything right now. I'm working on tightening it up. I hope I can get that other bolt out, get it in, because that wasn't funny. That was like, you know, getting it in there. You know, this is the stuff you go through, folks, is you run into these little challenges that eat up time, and you just don't get rammy. You got to take your time. It happens to me too. You know, where you get into something and it can be a little bit miserable. You know, it can be like somebody put the butter on the outside of the toast instead of on the inside. You know, that can be annoying. But you got to stay with it and don't get rammy. I'm almost got this in by hand, that's a big happy day for me. Because this has been a very interesting project, I have to say. I've learned a lot about Jeeps, how they're put together, how they're different from a lot of other vehicles I've worked on over the years. And I'll tell you, they are different. I'm going to leave it at that. They're different. And they're put together very interesting. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to let me get that bolt in there. That's exactly what I'm talking about, boys and girls. We got the second bolt in, Skippy. We're living the dream. I'm free. Yeah, whatever. You know what? Some people don't like it when you're, you know, too happy on the videos. I don't care. I really don't. You know what? I worked with miserable people. Let me tell you. Some places I worked, I had to... How many of you have had to work beside someone you just wanted to push off a bridge? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you know, you can't have fun on the job and enjoy each other. I don't want to go there. And there's just some people in the world. My professor used to say, Motormouth, there's 9 angry people in the world. And they're very difficult to get along with. But what we have to be grateful for is there are only 9. But the problem is they drift around a lot. You ever feel like you're the only one that gets stuck with someone like that? Well, anyways, the war was on. We did what you should always do, and that is, you know, all fun set aside. Pull it out, double check it, and make sure. And this is why a lot of times I don't like working with the air tools, because my military instructor, he'd say that's where you're going to cross thread something and get yourself in a really bad way in a hurry. So just don't do it. Hey Skippy, can you do me a big flavor? Are you still with me? Oh, hey Skippy, how you doing? I have one small problem. Yeah, I'm the whole problem. If you could be as nice as to, I'll hold your camera. Just give me a minute. And go to my toolbox. What do you want? Hands free. Yeah, okay. Go to my top toolbox. Okay. Wander over there. second drawer down from the top. If you open it, it'll have ratchets in there. One with the orange handle would be really nice. The short one. My favorite. That's it. You're amazing. Thank you. Now I can't find my other tool. Here it is. I got it. I am a tool. So I was just saying, you could easily put the air gun on this or the power tool and get yourself in a really bad way and cross thread. And I've seen this a lot where one starter bolt is broken off in the block. Then they tried to drill it out and it's drilled on an angle. And the other one is stripped. And now I got to put a starter in there. Yeah. I remember when we opened the shop in 1990, late 91 on the Hamilton Mountain. My first customer. And I'll tell you, I had to work on some really nasty jobs to build a clientele at our shop on the Hamilton Mountain. And I remember this Chevy truck coming in and these two fellas trying to do the work themselves, and they got themselves into some big trouble. And that talking about the bolt for the starter being snapped off and the other one being cross-threaded, and they tried to drill it out and they drilled it on an angle, and they brought me this truck and they're like, my friend told me that you might be able to help us out. And I knew their friend who was a tow truck driver. And I got this starter out, and I'm looking at it. I'm laying underneath, and I'm going, what on earth am I going to do with this? They put the engine in, and I'm looking around underneath the truck, and I'm spotting all kinds of problems. But the biggest problem was, how am I ever going to get a starter motor back on this block without pulling the engine out and having to send it out to get the block remachined to fit a starter motor in? I'll tell you, was that ever something else? They paid me for my work, and I, even to this day, I can't believe I pulled it off, to be honest with you. I really couldn't. And they pay me by the hour. I said, these repairs got to be done by the hour. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever run into something like that before? Somebody else has been there? And you're looking at it going, how on earth am I ever going to fix this? Yeah. I've had a few of those jobs, and then when we started to build a pretty heavy clientele, I started turning that kind of work down. I'd open the hood and close it. They go, why'd you close the hood? Because I don't want to fix it. I don't want to touch it. Honest, I was just being honest, I really don't want to touch it. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to touch it. That's that. I don't have time for that. And I'll tell you, a lot of times, yeah, I did this myself, and now I got this problem. It's like, what else did you touch? Yeah, just point it out to me. Yep, they were problems, man. No, I don't like the way that is sitting, to be honest with you. I don't like that at all. Sitting on there. I like that to sit down there. That's... Okay, all right. All right, I'm going to undo it here. Because I don't like the way that is sitting. It's sitting too far up. So I'm going to make a little judgment call here and move that down. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. So I'm just going to readjust. But let me know in the comments section. You ever gotten to one of those jobs where somebody else has been there before you and you're looking at it and you're going, oh my. Yeah, that's exactly what I would say. I'd look at it and open the hood and they go, well, whose artwork is this? Well, my friend said he could do it. I said, is he still your friend? Yeah. I've seen so much really bad work, and guys, you know what? know your limitations. That's all I got to say. It's if you're not sure, if I could give you any piece of advice, say stop. Just stop, just like I did there. Back off, compare the two components, or back away from it and think about it. Seek some advice. Get some help to come over and look at what you're working on before you get yourself in too deep. Because that's generally what happens, is you won't know, you don't know when to say stop. And then just keep going and try to force your way through, and then the problem is really big. So we don't want that happening to you. I don't want to see anybody go through that, because it just gets, the problem gets deep fast. Know when to say stop. It's not going well. Back up the bus, have another look, gather some information, ask some questions, but just don't keep going. Because it's at that point you may as well just hired somebody that is factory trained to do the work than to try and force your way through. And that's when you get yourself into a really bad spot. So I'm just tightening up the two wires on the back of the starter solenoid Yippee. I'm almost there. We're on the home stretch. I just had to make a little adjustment to the wiring on the back of the starter. I didn't like the way the connector for the positive to the solenoid was looking. I didn't like it at all. I like it now. It's anchored properly and squarely. So I don't know why there was two nuts on there. It might have been because that might be the case where you can make the adjustment. I'm just going to put the other nut and lock washer on there. And I just got one more connector, the main battery terminal. And I'm going to say also, when you're tightening these terminals on the solenoid on the starter, guys, no air tools, no Yippee gun, do it by hand. Because that's where you tend to break the Bakelite on the back of the solenoid and wreck the solenoid. If you crack the Bakelite that's on the back of a solenoid, it's over. You may get it to start, but that solenoid's gonna fail very quickly down the road. So I was always taught, do them by hand, and it's absolutely true, because when you don't, you're gonna crack it. You will crack it. And then that it needs fixing. If you leave it in there, you're going to end up pulling it back out. I've seen guys do that. Well, I changed the starter and it worked a couple of times. Now it's not working. I go in there, I pull the starter out, and the back of the solenoid's all broken open. And I say, did you put an air gun on that? Well, yeah. No. Yeah, and it's one of those cases where Yippee and I like to laugh and say, yeah, no. And that's it. I'm tightening the main positive terminal on the back of the solenoid, old school, with a wrench. And if that's too painful for you to watch, guess what? I paid for this starter, and I'm not breaking out the solenoid. You go right ahead. That's what I say. You go right ahead. Because it takes just half a turn of a wrench, and all you'll hear is crack, and that's it. It's done. You might as well just unbolt it and take it out. So, yep, I'm doing it with a wrench, and if you say that's too painful to watch, well, that's okay. You won't hurt my feeling at all, because when you can feel it tightening up, then you'll know when you're tight enough. I see that the main failure of many starters. Putting the air tool or the Yippee gun on the solenoid connections and zapping it on. Yeah, you go right ahead. Because you'll be pulling that baby out in less than 6 months. And when they see the warranty, when they see that you split open the back of the solenoid, they won't replace it. Just saying. All right, that's enough laying down on the job. Everything else looks good. It's in here. Everything's tight and right. Didn't over torque the starter bolts by using an air impact. do not do that again, guys. Do not put the air impact on the starter bolts. Because what that does, it warps the housing on the starter. It causes the starter flange to warp. And you put it out of proportion. All right, I can't believe I survived that. I'm here. I'm okay. I'm all right. Thanks for watching. Well, we're in there. It's tight. It's right. It's seated properly. I'm happy about the install. I'm getting my balance. I'll be okay. I'm all right. I'm okay. Okay, coming out. Oh, let me tell you, that was more fun than playing with a rabid animal, like a raccoon. There we go. But that's what was giving me trouble, was that curve right there has to drop the oil pan. So if you're putting this in, it's going in like this. The oil pan is coming down off the back of the motor, and then it has a turn. The lip of the pan has a turn, and then it goes this way. But it's rounded in there. It's not notched like this, square edge. So it was here that was giving me trouble. And I don't know, I just turned it one way and it dropped in over the pan and it slid right into place up to this corner, because you want to make sure that this is going tight against the block, that it's not kinked and you're thinking you're tightening it up when it's not seated. And I've seen that many, many times. And then when you hit that starter to throw it in, the gear is hitting off center. And it starts to chew the teeth on the flywheel. And if that happens, you're pulling the transmission out. So you want to make sure when you're putting a starter motor in that it's seated tight against the block all the way across. And that when you look at the starter from the back, you don't see it sitting off to a side or down a little bit or inward a little bit or up a little bit. It should be perfectly perpendicular. That's a big word on a Wednesday. Straight in. So when you look at the back of that starter motor, it should be perfectly centered and straight. So just as an example. So when this is in, and I'm laying under there and I'm looking at it, it's perfectly straight. It's not down a little bit at the back on one side or the other, or up a little higher on one side than the other. And that's what I was tightening under there. This is Bakelite. You put an air gun on this and you drive that nut down. And same with this one here. You don't know how much torque you're putting on that. Split this plastic anywhere, even around the main positive bolt connection from the windings to the solenoid. That's it. It's over. And you generally see it split right in here or around here because you put way too much torque on it. It's only Bakelite. It's plastic. Crack that open. It's done. Just take it down. Don't even bother. Because you're going to be pulling it out. Like I said, in less than 6 months, you're going to be pulling that out. It's over. It's over. Did I say it's over? Mind if I have a little drink of water? It's a little dry down there. All right. We're now getting to the next point where we can at least crank it over. It should be okay. We do have a starter relay issue. This relay is burnt. And Skippy, come on over here. Right here. Right in there. If I can get you in there. There's a better view. Right here, there's a set of points in there. See that? When I move this, these windings get energized when you turn the ignition key on. Then when you go to the crank position, it's going to pull this over and make the connections through the terminals. Now, this is it's a lying starter relay. The reason I'm going to tell you that is it has 5 terminals, but it's only actually using 4, because the center one on all these points where relays would go for different accessories, there's no terminal in the middle. See that? It's blank. So that's 5 terminals, but it's only using 4. So this is but I can manually make it run. And it only goes in one way. And I'll show you how I can make the car turn over, but we've got to replace this relay. It's done. See if you can see a little bit more in there. That black patch right in between the points there. See the points? I'm moving the points. There's 2 sets of points there. One this way, and when I release it, one the other way. So one this way, one the other way. So those, what happens is that becomes energized when you turn the key, and that's what fires up the pull in and the hold in windings on the solenoid. Just so you know. Okay, we're going to hook up the power. Negative on. See if it cranks over. I don't know if it's going to start, but we're going to see what happens. It wanted to start the other day when I was messing with it, but it got to the point where the starter that was in there, it just kept kicking out. It sounded horrendous. And thank goodness. What are you looking at? You don't like that? Yeah, we don't want the clamp on there yet. Because what we're going to do is, I want to run it, make sure it runs, then we're going to put the Jeep outside, then I'm going to pull this off. The lower radiator hose I'm going to pull off, and I'm going to flush through the block until it comes clean. I got as much stuff as I could out of the cooling system jackets, but it was kind of gnarly in there. It was messy and rusty. So instead of pushing whatever's left in the block into a nice brand new radiator and then plugging up the heater core over here with crud, I'm going to push through from this side and flush out the block, and then I'll push the water from the bottom, do a reverse flush, and push everything up from the bottom of the block to come out at the top. Then when that's coming out clean, then what I'm going to do is I'll hook everything up. I'm going to install a flush tee in this line here, and that allows me to hook the garden hose right up to the heater core. Then I'm going to run it and flush it out again and flush out the heater core at the same time. Then I'll let it drain, then I'll put the antifreeze in. That's how I do it. Because there is crud in the cooling system on this. I did the best I could when I had the block all apart, but we didn't do a full engine rebuild. We didn't have to. It only has about 60 or 65,000 kilometers on it. I sent the head out, got it refreshed, and you can watch those videos on our YouTube channel, Niall Motormouth Jenkins, and you can follow this whole TJ rescue on our YouTube channel right from the beginning when I was working on it outside in the freezing cold. All right, let's see what we got here. And we have a neutral safety switch, so you gotta, can you just reach in there and pull that cloth out of the intake there? Do you see that rag, Skippy? That's it. We don't want it to suck that in, but never leave your intake manifold open. Nothing. Okay, so what we're dealing with here is a bad relay. I said that, right? I just wanted to show you. So the ignition is on. I'm going to be the starter. Just make sure it's in neutral, because this bypasses the, when you do this, it bypasses the neutral safety. So we don't want to send Tippy into the backyard from here. Wouldn't be good. Let's see if it starts. So I'm going to put the relay in here, and I'm going to be the starter motor. Okay. Well, we know it cranks. I do hear something sounds kind of funny there. But let's see. Do we have any? You have any juice yet? Let's cycle the key. Get the injectors to fill. I put some more juice in it. Okay. Let's see. That was me. I hit this. I didn't let go of that fast enough. We may have to make an adjustment to the shield around the transmission down there. It sounds like the shield is contacting somewhere, so I know how to deal with that. Not bad for an old feller. And we got to remember, I hear a bit of a flutter at the back. When the last time this motor was run, I don't know. I don't have that history. So it's starting to even out now. We don't want to run it too long because there's no coolant in it. But we got a bit of a stumble to it at this point. But again, when you don't know when it ran last, we don't know. So that's good. It runs. Now we just got to get electricity to the relay when we want it. So that's what we know. What do we know now? We know that all our efforts have paid off. I didn't have any history on this motor other than the gentleman that I bought it from. He picked the Jeep that had the motor in for the frame up in Wasaga Beach, Ontario, and he was looking for the frame. He wasn't interested in the motor. So I got the motor from him in Toronto, closer to Vaughan actually, and this is the first time I've heard it run because I got it on a crate. That's how I brought it home. But everything looked good, and we've gone through the whole thing. So, you know what I do want to know is that we have oil. Well, it would be loud if in the top end if we didn't have oil pressure. So it's quiet. So that means we got oil pressure for sure. So I'm happy about that. If I have to, I'll make an adjustment to the shield on the starter. Let's see if it's making that noise again. Yeah, something's rubbing there, and I know what it is. I got to unbolt the shield around the transmission and reposition that just a little bit. So, the TJ lives to see another day. Wow. You know what? You know what I realized, Skippy? That's 2 vehicles in 1 week live to drive the roads of Ontario once again. How cool is that? That's a sweet ride right there. Yeah. That's like a hot cup of coffee on the end of the dock on a crisp September morning and the loons are calling. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being with us. You've witnessed this week, if you watched all the video, that's 2 engines. Would they start? Vanna was the first one earlier in the week, and we made some serious headway with that to get it back on the road, and it is. Liam's limo That's a sweet ride right there. Yeah. And now the TJ runs. Now we can go to the next step. I'll make that adjustment on the flywheel scatter shield and get that repositioned one way or the other. They can be a little bit fussy. And now we are going to the next step. We can drop this thing on the floor. I do have some bolts I need to replace on the control arm, so I'll take care of that. We'll drop it on the floor, get it outside, flush out the cooling system, and then just let it run. And this is a clue right here. I'll give you a little piece of advice. When you've done something like this, or a vehicle or an engine's been sat for quite some time, don't fire it up and start revving the daylights out of it. Let it come to life on its own. Just let it sit there and let it idle and kind of go, hey, I'm alive again. And just let it work itself in. Don't start snapping the throttle and revving it up to try and clear it out. Let it come back on its own. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. It's free to our YouTube channel, Niall Motormouth Jenkins. And to like, that's a thumbs up, share, follow, and your comments down in the comment section. When was the last time you did an engine swap or a vehicle rescue or bring a vehicle back to life? Maybe you have one in your driveway. You want to bring it back to life. Don't forget to click on the notification bell so that you're notified when new videos come out. 2 for Tuesday, 1 every Friday, so 3 every week. We try to keep the videos short, and we're going to be putting shorts out very soon. But if you subscribe, you will then know when we go live on YouTube, where you can join in on the chat and the conversation. Like and follow us on Facebook. There'll be reels there where you won't see anywhere else. Stevensville on the web, another area where you'll see lots of Car Connection action, behind the scenes action, I might say. And stay tuned for our podcasts. They begin within a day or two now. So we're all hooked up with an RS feed. We're ready to go. So keep it under 100. Put the coffee on. We're happy. It lives to run another day on the highways and byways of Ontario. Our 1997 Jeep TJ Wrangler. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. It's coming alive.
Well, thank you for stopping by the Car Connection Workshop right here on YouTube. Don't forget to come back and join us for another segment. So like, share, tag, and follow, and ding that bell so that you don't miss a single edition of Car Connection. So till next time, keep it under 100 and put the coffee on, because we're coming to your house.